welcome to my first attempt at a Cities Skylines Let's Play. I go by Maravik on the internet, and I have a little bit of a fascination with history, so my naming scheme for this map is going to be from Frankish history in the early medieval ages, so the Merovingian and Carolingian eras. As you can see, I named it Clovis County. So we're going to start with a naming scheme following that. I was a vanilla City Skylines player for a decent period of time, with most of my cities being built on the Xbox. I recently switched to the PC, and in watching a lot of the content creators out there to develop my game, I thought it might be fun to add a new layer, a new dynamic of, giving my hand at something like that. This project is entirely for fun for me, so if nobody ends up watching it, it doesn't really matter because my goal is really just to learn about video editing and sound and just generally creating content. I enjoy drone cinematography, so ultimately long term, I'd actually like to focus on that a little bit more, but I really enjoy playing City Skylines, and I thought a Let's Play would be a good, easy way for me to start off on incorporating all these different elements to make content. So we'll get down a road just to open up our access to the others. I chose this map from the new content creator pack that came out with the hotels and retreats, because I really enjoy playing coastal, like nice, coastal areas. I was looking for like maybe a harbor only start, but I'm not great with the content out there yet. As I said, I just kind of switched over from vanilla. I do have a significant amount of mods, but I basically took all of them from the channels that I watch, which would be like City Planner Plays, Overcharged Egg, and I actually just discovered Few Candy, so I've been checking her out a little bit. But most of what I have is based off of what I see them playing with, along with the assets that I have installed. It would all be stuff that I saw in one of their videos, so nothing is that I'm using yet happens to be anything I went out and found on my own. But ultimately, my goal is to have this area, this starting tile, at some point evolve into a much higher density area. I want this section of beach in here to be a almost Atlantic City-like boardwalk kind of area, and then taper it down into more, maybe get that up to like this point. Maybe not, that's really big, but at some point start tapering it into more of a lower density beach area, all the way out to maybe like a much more of a nature reserve kind of area at the very end of it. And then I do plan on having some industrial in this area, as I feel like in a historical development you would have seen this being a major intersection of waterways leading out into the harbor area. Some of your industrial developing up in here, power facilities, but then also moving this way eventually with some beach development. Maybe not so much. We'll see. So I'm going to try to focus on keeping my road networks a little bit open around this corridor, as eventually this will be a four-way intersection leading out towards maybe some agriculture and things out here. So we'll see how that works out. I'll get down a couple basic road frames to get myself over this way for an industrial section. I do want to have what will become my major connector or arterial through this area, following the curvature of Beachfront. Maybe we'll bring it to about there. And ultimately, we'll plan on it going up this way. I do want this to be more of an organic feeling road. And ultimately I'll probably put like a pedestrian sandstone double wide with a tram line through here, because this is going to be a higher density area, but that is a little further out. Given that I plan on developing this high density, I'm going to do a pretty basic grid, but I want to get my necessaries down first. Especially I want to use the advanced coal plant, and that is expensive. So let's give ourselves a little frame for that. How do we want this to sit? I'm thinking I would like it to sit with a smokestack that way. So we have that. We'll get some transmission lines coming in through here. Maybe just kind of following the road for now. Figure out where exactly those are going to go in a minute. Let's get our water treatment option in. I am going to use the inland. I do not want to soil my riverfront with a bunch of human fecal matter going into there. And we'll use, for the time being, a water tower. So I am pretty notorious for starting a save and forgetting to place the necessary building, and then building my road grid out till I have no money left and having to restart. So hopefully I got everything. Although I wouldn't be lying if I didn't say this isn't like the third time I've attempted to record this video, with the learning curve of audio issues over gameplay noises, and just learning that my microphones leave something to be desired, as I have just a gaming headset. So we're going to come out, and I'm going to leave plenty of space, anticipating that at some point this will be probably... I'm thinking of continuing the highway down and perhaps having a staggered exit along the roads here. Maybe that way, you know, your traffic getting on the highway is going to be using one of the major roads through here, and your traffic getting off is coming off another to reduce congestion, or creating a traffic circle. But either way, I want to leave plenty of space, so I will assume maybe we'll leave 4 tiles for now. We can zone our commercial up kind of along there in the meantime and rezone it later. So that will be our initial starting grid. I like kind of breaking it up sometimes when I don't want a ton of through streets going through everywhere. something like that. That'll give some variety in our commercial spawning. Get some of the 3s and the 2s in there. Leave some path space, that type of thing. And then... oh, I do need to come up with a tree palette. That's always fun. And we'll try to keep the rest of this pretty arranged on a 20 by 20. Does this work out? No. That's fine. Alright, now before I forget, let's get water up in this area. And we'll get our power jumping through. I do want some form. Where did I place that pipe? Right there. Some form of crossover there for the meantime while we develop the area. Let me get water pipes down, probably with the rest of the funds that I have. And that's about where I'm going to run out of money. So we will pop commercial in here, residential, and residential, residential. Let's go drop a little bit of industrial over here. Well, crank down our budget settings. And we should be good to start. So I think the goal for today is to get up to the tiny town landmark, get a little bit of park detailing in, and then call it. I really hope some commercial builds through here, but I could just throw some residential in to help it jump. There we go. And it's in God's hands now if I place enough of this correctly to get a positive income stream. of the things about this map is it is not a tropical theme map, it's a temperate theme. So I won't be using probably, I would imagine you would have some kind of forced palm action at like some of the resort locations, maybe fake or something, but it's going to have more of a temperate themed tree palette. So I'll have to think about that when I'm coming up with what trees I want to use. I really probably overuse trees in this game in comparison to real life, but I don't know. I come from the Northeast in America, so I'm used to seeing a lot of trees everywhere I go. So that's kind of, I think, my thought when I put down a lot of trees, but then I realize, when I'm building tropical maps that there's probably not trees anywhere near the beaches. I did just come back from the Outer Banks, and it's partially the reason I wanted to do a beachfront, even though my beachfront in this area will be much more commercialized. So this is our first resident, Pierce Graham, and he is going to the Aspen residence. So we're going to name this after Pierce there, and it will be Pierce Road. Oops. And then we might as well, since we're in naming, we're going to name this Aspen Boulevard. And we're going to say that the Aspen family is one of the historic founders of this little area. Maybe they saw some potential in the beachfront and started fleshing out the development here. Maybe that was Pierce Graham's great-grandpappy. Trying to click on this convenience store. Okay, so he works at the little gas station here. We'll say he's the proprietor of the little gas station here. So we're going to make this historical. I probably will end up utilizing Find It for a lot of my commercial assets at some point. But initially, we'll just kind of let things come in. This entire area I will move to, or look to move towards a high density area once we get higher populations and expand. So it looks like I'm being held up by a little bit of industrial demand, but we are almost at that point where we're going to be making money. So let's zone a little bit of industrial along here. I don't want to overuse the industry. As soon as we can, I'm going to convert it over to the new industry buildings. They look absolutely great. And as you can see, I have some custom assets that I had installed, which I did not realize were going to pop up on their own. And I did not realize they were growable. I think they make for cool little factory complexes when you place them with Move It, but I definitely don't want them growing up on their own. They remind me of the European buildings, which look super cool, but if they don't go together correctly, then they just kind of look weird. Like, what's going on here? Anyway. Looks like we're doing good over here. I do have the American Eclectic pack installed, which, although you can have an exclusive theme for it, it also seems to grow up on its own, so I'm sure there's some form of mod that can help me organize how my houses grow up. I don't know what it is. On the off chance that anybody ever watches this video and they want to let me know what it is in a comment, much appreciated. I have to start subscribing to some of the Discord to some of these content creators, I think, because, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. But we do have a bunch of people coming in now. I grabbed a bunch of semi-truck assets, mostly because I wanted to use them as props. When I was watching Overcharged Eggs Thesia series, I noticed he makes these nice little industrial yards, and most of his commercial even he places, you know, shipping and receiving areas, and I thought it was super cool. So I went and downloaded all these truck props, and then they populated into the normal game, which I don't have a problem with. Okay, so I just had a pause in the video, so we'll see how merging the two of them works. And I made this a 5, not a 6 zone, so I'm going to get these stupid 1x1s. But I'm financially in the positive now, and we'll probably burn this entire block to the ground. I hate the 1x1 assets. They just look so out of place when you put them in with the, you know, you have this house, which doesn't look like a mansion, right? Like the amount of windows on it, like doesn't look like a mansion. And this house, which standalone would be a little cute little house, but then yeah, just the proportions of it really bother me. So we'll allow it for now, and I'll burn this entire area to the ground at some point. So I probably, once we hit Tiny Town, will not utilize the accelerate game pace too frequently. One of the things I find happens when I do that, I tend to focus a lot more on, or a lot less on the fine details of the game. Partially my motivation for doing a Let's Play was to get me focused more on things like the creative side of this game than playing it as, you know, a game with win conditions, like, you know, always trying to unlock that next milestone. So we drop in a little more industrial, get ourselves into the positive. Things are looking good. As soon as I have enough money, we'll start zoning some of these areas, get the water pipes in there. As we are running out of, there we go. That's going to give us a nice money boost. And unfortunately, I will use a landfill site this early in the game, as the recycling center's capacity is just abysmal. So let's kind of keep our framed out area here and drop in the old landfill. Get some water. I'm not promising that I'm going to keep the water under the roads, but, you know, I watch too much City Planner plays these days to not make an effort. I think what he's doing with the Nicolay Bay series is just fantastic. And I am also starting to watch the Clearwater County. Well, I'm pretty far into the Clearwater County. That's a great series as well. I like his little bit of the narrative element, you know, the lore of the cities that he does. It's just interesting seeing how different people approach their play styles. I think one of the first people I actually watched in this was Captain Obvious, um, who just introduced me to the idea of more organic zoning for some of the areas, which although I'm not utilizing it right now, as I really do want this kind of grid feel, expecting this to be high density later, it really makes some of the rural areas look very nice, and I like that style that he has. I mean, I'm not against it for cities either. Obviously, there's many cities that develop in less of a grid pattern, especially those that were, did develop very organically and weren't thought out as cities. But I feel like, especially with this beach, things would have been very, designed probably starting in this area and expanding backwards away from the beach in a grid-like pattern. So let's get some availability for our residential zoning in. We're at the place now where we should cruise through these remaining milestones and hit that population goal that we need to unlock some of the detailing. And then I can hopefully have an editable video after many attempts. I did do a full one, not realizing that I needed some kind of dedicated microphone. I was trying to use the built-in, and it was just completely overpowered by the game noises, getting the balance of, making sure that I don't have too many game sounds going on, turning that volume way down. I don't want to turn it off. I think something about hearing a little bird chirp every once in a while adds to the ambiance of the city. All these little happy people. Yeah, I am, since we are in the positive right now, let's, for the time being, get rid of these one-by-ones. Very annoying. As I just talk about happy people going in their houses and I demolish them. Well, this will also, until this becomes higher density, it really doesn't matter. But I would assume that we're gonna just blast this road out of here and this one at some point. Maybe we'll do that right now. Just let it grow up. We won't get any one-by-ones, hopefully. The 2x2s are okay. It's really just the 1x1 buildings that I to test in this game. And some of the little 1x1 assets are actually useful, especially with Move It. That's one thing Overcharge Egg does, which is kind of cool. I like it, is combining some of the assets together to simulate one larger asset. Really end up having to do it. I've been messing around with the hotels packet, the resorts or whatnot, and to get some of the requirements filled, you really have to have some of the buildings quite close to them. And, I want to have like a nature reserve, nature cabin kind of thing going on, but then all of a sudden you have to have all these commercial buildings nearby and offices nearby that seem out of place in order to get the rating and, the income level stabilized. So taking some of the assets and moving them close together at least minimizes the amount of space that you have to eat up. One of the other cities that I built, I have this mountain retreat thing going on. It's not a snowy map, but almost like what I would have imagined was a ski resort, but that had, summertime functions with the lift and everything like that, the cable cars. But then I had to jam pack it with some businesses, some office zoning for them to be happy, and it just felt very out of place. So we're at that stage where they just want industrial. So let's keep that zoning going. We'll reserve some right away here. Probably should have done it right there, but whatever. And we're running low on water, so that means we are at that point probably where we need to start thinking about cranking up our budget. I usually just throw everything up equally. Once you get past that initial phase, it's not hugely important for the micromanaging of the money. Get some water pipes out there where they need to be. And we're cranking along. Let's increase the speed here a little bit. Maybe get a little more of the commercial zoning in. It'll be interesting when I redesign this area if we can find a way to keep that little gas station, being the founding family's proprietary gas station. I'd like to keep it. Oh, here we go. Worthy Village, halfway there. Police station, firehouse, schools. So I'm of the mindset of getting the firehouse and police station and healthcare down pretty soon now. I know that the healthcare is not always absolutely necessary right in the beginning, but let's put that there. Actually, I think I would prefer that. Kind of like that. And get the police station there next to it. And we'll go with the more modern fire station. I don't know which one is which. Which one's the European, which one's the regular. But I think these three go well enough together. I don't have much in the way of custom assets for these things. Our demand is pretty equal, so let's drop in some more. Residential and commercial. At some point, maybe even now, let's think about upgrading this main thoroughfare in here. Switch them over to one-ways at some point, maybe if the traffic starts getting crazy. Although I really can't, because I think these buildings, I should have left a space. See, that's what I should have done. Left 5 spaces here, not zoned into that, so these would have developed all facing this road. That's what I think I did the last time I built this, and I forgot to. It's fine. Why? Oh my god, I didn't put water over there. Terrible. Let's take a look at the idea of expanding this out a little bit more, as it looks like I need some more capacity for zoning my industrial area. Bring these pipes up here. Oh. And Tiny Town. Perfect. So that is about where I wanted to get. I'm going to very quickly turn this into the Industrial Evolutions area, now that we have these things unlocked. Which is going to mess with the area a little bit initially. Looks like I need to crank the budget up a little bit further. We'll bring it right up to 100%. And then won't mess with that anymore. Bring the taxes up. I pretty much forget to do that in almost every game. Never do it until I place like way too much of unique buildings and then realize I'm running out of money. I do love using like the shopping centers and things like that, especially with Find It, where you can get away with not using multiples of the same unique building. All of a sudden you're sitting there in a huge financial hole. Alright, well, this seems like a good place to call it for the build today. I'm going to work on this issue off camera and do a little... Oh, maybe it's clearing out. Yep. Who knows what that was? Oh no, it's still doing something. So yeah, I'll work on that off camera and probably include a little detailing time lapse. And I'll see you guys in episode 2. Thanks for watching.